Hello students, we are continuing with our ongoing chapter, that is acids, bases and salt. So first of all, I have given you two tasks and one question that you need to do at home. So first of all, if you had checked onion and clove oil in acidic and basic media, you would have found that the onion smell remains same and same with the clove oil. Its smell remains same, and in basic media both of them loses their smells. So we can say that all these three olfactory indicators loses their smell in case of base. Okay, one more question was given that you have been provided three test tubes, like this is 1, 2 and 3, and one of them contains acid, second contains base, and third contains distilled water. We don't know in which test tube which of the solution or distilled water is present. So what we will do, we can check whether the solution present in the test tube is acid, base or distilled water. Okay, so we can check it by some indicators, and I have chosen the best indicator that we can use here. First one is red cabbage. So I have already told you that red cabbage remains, it is not red, actually it is of purple color. And in case of distilled water, when we put the red cabbage juice into all these three all these three test tubes, what happens? In case of distilled water, red cabbage remains of purple color. In case of base, it turns into green color, and in case of acid, it turns into red. And we can easily identify these three test tubes, contents present in these three test tubes. Then after, we can also use litmus papers. You know very well, in case of acids, blue litmus turns into red and red remains red. So we have put both the litmus papers into suppose in test tube 1, and if red litmus remains red and blue litmus turns into red, then it is having acid. And if red litmus becomes red blue and blue litmus remains same, that means of blue color, that means it is containing base. And in case of water, no color change takes place. Okay, you can also use a universal indicator. What happens in the universal indicator? Universal indicator turns into pink or red in color in case of acid, and in blue or purple color in case of base, and it remains of green color in case of distilled water. Next, reactions. We will go through the reactions of acids and bases. So first of all, reactions of acid and bases with metals. Reaction of acids and bases with metals. And to check them, we can perform an activity that in this test tube we have taken acid like HCl you can take, okay, and some zinc granules, mean small pieces of zinc metal, and we have put a test tube here, this tube, this is called U tube, and it transfers the gas that is evolving through this solution to this water or this beaker of water. And then after, we can see that the bubbles are coming out from this tube. So what we have done, we have mixed an acid with zinc granule, that means a metal, and in these two reactions takes place, and a gas evolves from this tube and evolves out in form of bubbles. And when we bring a matchstick, a burning matchstick near it, the gas burns with a pop sound, and it confirms that the gas evolved is hydrogen gas, because only hydrogen gas burns with pop sound. Okay, so what reaction takes place here? That is acid, when react with metal, it forms salt and hydrogen gas. We can take some examples like HCl, hydrochloric acid, plus zinc, it gives out ZnCl2, this is salt, zinc chloride, and hydrogen gas. We can take one more example like NaOH, it's a base, we can take one more example like Zn plus H2SO4. Okay, it gives out ZnSO4 plus H2 gas. This is salt and this is hydrogen gas. What happens in case of bases? When a base reacts with a metal, it also produces hydrogen gas. So we can take a base here instead of acid. And what reactions takes place, we have taken one example, very important reaction, that is NaOH plus zinc. NaOH is sodium hydroxide, it's a base, plus zinc, it forms sodium zincate, Na2ZnO2, and hydrogen gas is also again evolved here. Okay, this is symbol of gas. Then after reaction of metals with metal carbonate and metal hydrogen carbonate, we can call hydrogen carbonate as bicarbonate also. So you can call it metal hydrogen carbonate or metal bicarbonate. So what reaction takes place here? If we react a metal carbonate or metal hydrogen carbonate with acid, a salt is formed there, CO2 gas is evolved, and water is evolved. Okay, so we can take one example like sodium carbonate Na2CO3. This is sodium carbonate. When it reacts, this is solid. Solid means, S means solid. We have taken Na2CO3 in solid form. HCl in aqueous form. Aqueous form means water as a solvent. We have taken water as a solvent here. The HCl, it's a water solution. Then what is produced? NaCl aqueous plus H2O liquid and CO2. This is salt, this is water, and this is carbon dioxide gas. Again we can take the example of metal hydrogen carbonate, and here we have taken NaHCO3, sodium hydrogen carbonate, or you can call it sodium bicarbonate. When it reacts with HCl, it forms NaCl, again salt, plus H2O and CO2. Okay, so we have seen that whenever metal carbonate or metal hydrogen carbonate reacts with acid, it gives out salt plus CO2 plus H2O. Okay, one more thing, how will you check the whether which gas is evolved from these reactions? First of all, whenever CO2 gas is released, released, effervescence are created there. Okay, effervescence are created there, that means very small bubbles. तुम ये भी कह सकते हो जैसे कि जो झाग होते हैं ना किसी में, उस तरह की यहाँ पे एफरवेंसेस आती है. सो एक और एग्जांपल हम ले सकते हैं यहाँ पे, कैल्शियम हाइड्रोक्साइड. दिस इज अ बेस. ओके, कैल्शियम हाइड्रोक्साइड, how will you our concern is that how would you check that CO2 gas is evolved? Suppose you have taken in the same test tube sodium carbonate or sodium bicarbonate and put HCl into it. The gas evolved will pass through this tube and bubble out here, and you will see if you have taken instead of water, if you take calcium hydroxide solution here instead of water, if you have taken calcium hydroxide solution here, what will form? It turns into milky color and a precipitate means that a solid form is precipitated out or separate out, and it settle down in the base, that is precipitate. A precipitate is formed there, and it turns this solution into milky color, and also water is released. Second thing, if you pass excess of CO2 means, first of all, when CO2 is passed through this base, it forms CaCO3, and if further CO2 is transferred to it, what will happen? The further CO2 will turn it into calcium bicarbonate or calcium hydrogen carbonate. Okay, and this is soluble in water. This is not soluble. Precipitates are not soluble in water, and it again gets soluble in water. Now come to the reactions of acids with base. What happens when an acid reacts with base? Whenever an acid reacts with base, always a salt is formed and water is also formed. We can take examples like NaOH base, HCl acid. Whenever they react with each other, they form NaCl and water. NaOH, H2SO4, base, acid, Na2SO4 and H2O. KOH, it's a base, HCl, acid, they form KCl, H2O. KOH, this is CH3COH, it is called acetic acid. This is hydrochloric acid, this is sulfuric acid, this is acetic acid. It is found in vinegar also. Okay, तो जैसे ये इसके साथ रिएक्ट करेगा, इट फॉर्म CH3COOK. CH3COOK, it's a salt, it's a salt, it is called potassium acetate and plus water. Okay, so these are the reactions of acids with bases. Then after we will come to the reaction of metallic oxides with acids. Metallic oxide means the compound containing oxygen and a metal. So whenever a metal oxide reacts with acid, it forms salt plus water. Whenever metal oxide reacts with acid, it forms salt plus water. Not all metal oxide, but most of the metal oxide react with the acid to form these compounds. So like we can take the example of CuO, copper oxide plus HCl, it forms CuCl2 plus H2O. CuO plus H2SO4, CuSO4 plus H2O. MgO, magnesium oxide plus H2SO4, it forms MgSO4 plus H2O. Fe2O3 plus HCl, it forms FeCl3 plus 3H2O. Okay, so these are the metal oxides and these are acids. They react together to form salts plus water. A question arises here, you are given a question in exam that a metal oxide is black in color, and when it reacts with acid, it turns into blue-green color. Identify that metal and that metal chloride, or you can say metal salt. So this is the metal oxide which is black in color, CuO. Whenever it reacts with acid, it turns into blue-green color. Okay, CuSO4 is a blue color. CuO plus H2SO4, CuSO4, it is blue-green color. Okay, then after MgO, it is white in color. It is also white in color, so no change in color takes place. Okay, same with this Fe2O3, it is reddish brown, and it is also reddish brown. Actually, the color of FeCl3 depends on the angle by which we see it, but most of the time it appears to be reddish brown in color. So the main question arises from this metal oxide, that is CuO. Okay, then after we will go through reactions of non-metallic oxides with base. We have already done this. Is carbon is non-metal and this is oxygen, so it's a non-metallic oxide. Whenever it reacts with a base, calcium hydroxide is a base. Okay, what will happen? It forms CaCO3, calcium carbonate plus H2O. This is a salt. Okay, again we can take another example, NaOH plus CO2, it forms Na2CO3 plus H2O. This is also a salt. Okay, so we have seen that whenever a base reacts with a non-metallic oxide, it forms salt plus water, and we can see here that whenever an acid reacts with base, it forms salt plus water. So these two are similar, and we can say that in place of acid, we have taken non-metallic oxide here, so we can say the non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. Okay, non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. This is all for today, and you need to solve these three questions. Okay, first question is curd should not be kept in brass and copper vessel. Why? Second question, which gas is liberated when acid reacts with metal? How will you test it? Third one is metal compound A reacts with dilute HCl to produce effervescence. The gas evolved extinguishes a burning candle. Okay, write a balanced chemical equation for the reaction if one of the compound formed is CaCl2. Means जैसे हम देख सकते हैं इसमें metal compound A reacts with dilute HCl. आपको क्या करना है, ऐसे A लेना है, A plus HCl, it produces effervescence. अभी बताया था effervescence कौन सी गैसेस में निकलता है. Okay, then after the gas evolved extinguishes a burning candle, मतलब एक जलती हुई कैंडल को बुझा देगी. Okay, उसको extinguish कर देगी. तो तुम्हें उसके केमिकल रिएक्शन लिखनी है कि क्या केमिकल रिएक्शन है, कौन सी गैस इवॉल्व हो रही है, कौन सा मेटल हमने यहाँ पे यूज़ किया। यहाँ पे एक हिंट है, दैट इज the one of the compound formed is CaCl2. So let's see how will you solve it. Thank you.